Hello everyone and welcome to Flickering Myth TV, an extension of the website flickeringmyth.com. My name's EJ Marino and today we are reviewing Terminator Dark Fate. Have you ever been in a movie theater and the film ends and you look at the screen and go, why? Well, that is my feelings for Terminator Dark Fate. By the time the credits were rolling, I just sat there and went, why did we feel the need to tell that story? Look, I love the return of Linda Hamilton. I really like Arnold Schwarzenegger. But this film wastes both of them. Look, Linda Hamilton does fine in this movie, but overall I just went, why did we do this? With 5 people working on the story and 3 people working on the screenplay, you would think all of those minds, especially one of them being James Cameron, would come up with a decent plot, a decent reason to revisit the Terminator franchise, but they didn't. This was just one of another Terminator sequels that aren't that good. Look, everyone's saying, well, this isn't as bad as the other sequels. Okay, you might have a point there, but let's judge this movie on its own, and it's not good at all. Like, there is a lot of script issues, there's a lot of tone issues, there's a lot of dialogue choices that were horrible, there's some acting that's a little bit stiff, there's some CGI that overall works, but there's times where there's glaring issues. I could go on and on and on with the issues of this film, but overall my just feelings are, why? Terminator Dark Fate picks up 22 years after Terminator 2 Judgment Day. We are ignoring all those other sequels, and the beginning of this movie really tells you they are ignoring everything that came before it. So yeah, this is a continuation of that Judgment Day story. We have Linda Hamilton's character, Sarah Connor, trying to save another young kid. This time it's a young girl in Mexico, but there is another Terminator played by Mackenzie Davis. Her character's name is Grace. She is there to also help the young Mexican girl named Danny. I was just like, well, this is intriguing. We had Gabriel Luna playing a villainous Terminator. We had a small little, okay, actually a pretty extended cameo slash supporting role from Arnold. We have all of these pieces here and I'm like, oh, so this is just a Terminator movie. It really blew my mind of going, you weren't really progressing any of the stories. We weren't trying to tell a new story. If you've seen one, you've seen them all. This really doesn't do anything different than add female characters to the twist. I actually have no problem with the idea of like feminizing, quote unquote, this franchise because it's always been Linda Hamilton's franchise. She has been the heart and soul of this. So I had no problem with the female aspect of this film, but there is some times where I think you're going to piss off a certain fan base by doing some things and replacing them with women. It's a common thread where it's just like, well, you have this now, and it's just like, great, you're going to anger some people. And look, I'm not saying we should really make movies to not piss off a small, like, vocal minority, but there's some clear issues here that I'm like, did you really think this was going to work for everyone? Because it's not. And that's the main issue here is, who is this movie for? Is this for like die-hard Terminator 2 fans? Because it kind of like disrespects that film. Is this for fans of the other sequels? Because there might be some of them, but don't worry, those are erased out of existence. And if you love the first Terminator, we are a long way from that like indie feeling horror film. This is just another big budget CGI filled Hollywood movie, and that's kind of sad because the core of this film is just a weird, like I said, a weird indie horror with that first Terminator to this fun action adventure film from T2, and now I'm like, so we are just making something that reminds me of Men in Black International or like a bad Marvel movie or something like that, where it's just like, there's no soul and heart to this movie. And usually for my action movies, especially nowadays, I want you to have something more to tell me, something more in there than just action, action, action. Because then when we do try to do those chiller moments, it doesn't work well because we don't have the script to support it, the actors to support it, and the director to support it. Sorry for the Tim Miller fans out here, but this is a long cry from what he did with Deadpool. This is just one of those like, oh, this is what you've tried to follow up Deadpool? This was your, oh, I'm not on Deadpool 2, I'm gonna make this movie. This was it? Well, David Leake from Deadpool 2 is like, oh, that's all you had? Cool, good job there. I'm a big fan of this mindset for critics and anything who's going into review or talk about movies. Just because you don't like a movie doesn't make it bad. And that's where I'm struggling with this movie is, did I not just like this movie and I'm just like projecting all the bad stuff on it? But taking away subjective feelings, this movie is just not good. It's really just, like I said, heartless, soulless, and it has a weak script. I guess coming off a film as strong as Knives Out in the script department, to go to a film like this that feels like a computer made it. Well, obviously 5 people, 6 people made this movie, but I just was like, this is what we're doing? Why? Now, I don't have just negative feelings, because I never want to go into a review just bashing it. There's some really cool stuff. I thought Linda Hamilton surprised me in this film. We haven't seen her in a while, especially in this franchise, and I liked what she had to do here. I liked Mackenzie Davis for the most part. I thought she was okay. I thought the actress who played Danny was really interesting as well. Not as strong as some of the other actors in this, but she did fine. None of the acting in this movie is atrocious. It just feels sometimes wooden, and I don't know if that's the bad dialogue, but I can't really blame the actress for everything, and I actually did enjoy. There's a lot of stuff that Linda Hamilton did in this movie that I was like, oh, that was cute. There's some stuff in here, the action-wise. That first Terminator v Terminator fight scene was pretty awesome. It's in a factory. It's Diego Luna versus Mackenzie Davis. They're going at each other, and I thought that was really cool, and it felt grounded still. But by the time the end battle scenes were happening, the action didn't have weight to it. We're just watching these two, like, inhuman CGI creatures battle each other, and that doesn't really allow me to be invested in that kind of action. So I was starting to tune out. I was starting to go, oh, I wonder what Linda Hamilton's gonna do next, or, well, look how great Arnold looks. Good job keeping in shape. That's not the feelings I should have while watching these big explosive action scenes, but when it lacks that extra oomph, that's what happens. Your mind starts to wander, and I'm started going, why are we doing a Terminator movie? Is this worse than Genesis? Do I like Genesis? What happened to Salvation? I'm thinking about everything else but Dark Fate. Before I anger more of these die-hard Terminator fans, that is it for my review of Terminator Dark Fate. What did you think of this review? What do you think of this movie? Are you interested in Dark Fate? Did anything I say scare you away from this movie, or did you go, you know what, I'll still try it out? Let me know down in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe to Flickering Myth, because we make videos like this every single week, and give us a thumbs up, because we take those way seriously. Alright guys, let's talk about Terminator Dark Fate below.